In this video, I want to talk about some brutal truths that nobody's talking about. And it's very likely if you're in the law of assumption space, you're making some of these mistakes that keep you stuck at the current reality you're at without even realizing it. In just about 10 minutes, I'm going to share with you everything that I learned, all the mistakes I've made and what I learned. So you don't need to repeat the same mistakes and you can manifest the life that you truly desire in record speed. And at the end of the video, I will reveal to you one thing that you're attached to that is secretly sabotaging everything that you're trying to manifest. The first truth that I learned way too late is that everybody talks about ignoring your reality, ignoring the 3D. But this advice is actually very counterproductive, because if you think of it, if you're currently ignoring your bills, let's say somebody is trying to collect your bills and you're not paying them and you're just putting them in the drawer and you never look at them, you literally try to cheat that person. You cannot cheat reality. So ignoring your 3D world doesn't really make sense. Yes, you should ignore being emotionally attached to your 3D world, but you always need to face reality. If you want to change something, you have to look at it and you have to face it. As one of my mentors said, sometimes you have to get fed up with your reality. You need to look at it and say, no more of it. I have enough. Enough is enough. It's done. And define very clearly what you want and then turn your back to your reality. Yes, but you don't actually start there, right? You never want to ignore your 3D world if you want to manifest something better. You want to first face it. You want to look at it and then you can change it. The second brutal truth that I learned about the law of assumption is sometimes just thinking more positive and doing more things and listening to more content is not really going to help you, because you need to face your shadow. There are some parts of you that you're rejecting and you're trying to just put them under the rock and you don't want to look at them because maybe they're too painful. Maybe you don't think these parts of yourself are good. And it can be anything. It can be your past. It can be an experience you had. It can be a person that hurt you. It can be a person that you hurt, or something that you're secretly doing that you're not really proud of. These things are called the shadow. These are parts of ourselves that we usually reject. And we believe that if we just ignore them, they go away. And we try to suppress them and not focus on them. We try to focus on what we want. But the problem is, whatever you resist persists and becomes bigger. Whatever you fear becomes bigger and bigger. Till you face the fear, it disappears. So it's very important that you also do shadow work. Don't try to reject everything just for the sake of being positive and thinking you're doing a great job. Because if you in reality feel really bad about something, about a part of yourself, about something that's going on, or that happened in the past, and you're not facing that, you just reject it, just to look in the outside that you're doing everything right and that you're a great manifester, it's not going to help. I made a whole video about shadow work. If you want to check that out, it's here. The third brutal truth is dopamine detox. That goes back to the other points. It's like sometimes our glass is full and then we try to put on affirmations and visualizations and do all these things. Even like, maybe do sets in the evening before we go to sleep. Visualize what we want. But the next day, we're just distracted and all over the place. We cannot even focus really. And when we visualize, we cannot even see the picture clearly because our mind is fried. This often goes back to dopamine overload. How you can figure out if you have a dopamine overload is like, what happens when you do nothing? Can you do nothing? Can you just sit and relax? Or are you getting nervous and you need to find something where you can distract yourself? And by the way, I struggle with this a lot. I'm still struggling with this sometimes. I'm human like you. And I know how detrimental it is. So I always put a lot of attention onto doing dopamine detox, which means reducing things that I know that are not really good for me. And it can be many things. And you probably know if you're doing some of these things. But the main point here is like whenever you feel like restless, whenever you feel like you cannot relax right now, you cannot sit still, not just in the morning or at night, but actually throughout the day. Can you just sit on your couch and literally do nothing? Or do you always need some stimulus? Do you always need to watch content, watch videos, do something with your phone, go on Instagram or talk to someone? I mean, there's so many things. There are even like bigger things that are more detrimental. I don't want to talk about them right now, but doing a dopamine detox is very, very helpful. Very helpful if you want to manifest anything, if you want to make anything work, if you want to make the law of assumption work, manifest your dream partner, more money, better house, just be happier every single day. Dopamine detox is absolute key. Then the fifth point is detachment. What I didn't understand about the law of detachment is you cannot just detach from everything. We are human. We are always attached to something. So if you want to truly detach, you have to detach from parts of yourself. You need to detach from things that you don't want anymore. You have to detach from how you've been doing certain things, how you've been showing up on a consistent basis, and you need to attach to a new version of yourself. And I do that by going very, 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 very deep into my vision. Like, what do I want to create? How do I see my life unfolding? And describing that so in detail until I get fired up, I get excited. And there's so many ways to do it, but just journaling on that, it's very powerful. And just spend some time really envisioning your dream life and how you're going to show up, your self-identities, your self-concept. And then you want to attach to that part of yourself. You want to attach to a new life, a new personality. Doesn't mean you reject your current situation. It just means you're committing, showing up as a different person. You become more attached to the life that you want, the person you want to become, than what you don't want anymore. And that also doesn't mean rejecting the parts of yourselves that you don't want. Shadow work is very powerful because once you do the shadow work, these parts of yourselves that you reject, they dissipate. And it's like they're not there anymore. And that especially goes with people that keep sabotaging themselves. If you sabotage yourself, it's very likely that you need to do some shadow work so this energy that's stuck can dissipate and something new can be created. So if you want to detach to something, detach to what you no longer want and start attaching to something new, something that you truly care and desire. And then the last one that I learned, living in the end, living as if it's already done. Many people misunderstand that. They don't really understand, like, what does it really mean to live in the end? It doesn't just mean you're visualizing. It doesn't just mean you think about it, because think of it, if it's already done, you don't really think about it anymore. You don't need to visualize it really, because it's already done. You are living it. That's a subtle mind shift that many people cannot make because they keep holding on to their reality not being there yet, because they keep thinking about it, they keep wanting it, they keep visualizing it, instead of showing up every single day as if it's already done. And that's almost something that you cannot do consciously. It has to be a mind shift. It almost is like a letting go, just relaxing, taking a deep breath and knowing it's done, and not obsessing over getting it anymore. You just live every single day, and probably you're super happy because if your wish is fulfilled, you're probably very happy. It doesn't need to be like strong excitement or jumping up and down every day. It might just be you're just relaxed, you're fulfilled. You feel content because it's here. You know it's here. You're living in the end. And I want to play a quick video with Neville and give my comments to that.
Tonight we delve into a principle that stands at the very heart of the art of manifestation. This principle, which I call living in the end, is essential for those who seek to bring their deepest desires into reality. To live in the end is to live your life based on the assumption that you have already achieved your goal. This isn't mere positive thinking or visualization. It is a complete acceptance and emotional realization of having your desire fulfilled, not in the future, but now. It involves thinking, feeling, and acting as if the desired state is already a fact, despite any evidence to the contrary. The foundation of this concept is the understanding that consciousness is the only reality. Everything you perceive, including the physical world, is a reflection of your own consciousness. Therefore, by altering your consciousness, you can alter your reality. When you adopt the state of the wish fulfilled, your consciousness begins to transform the world around you to reflect your inner state. Now let us turn to the practical application of this.
That's exactly the mind shift that you need to make in order to live all your dreams, everything that you are trying to do. You need to go away from wanting it, trying to realize it, trying to research about it, trying to make it happen, trying to visualize about it. And doesn't mean you should never visualize, because your only reality is your consciousness. So what you can do is live in that consciousness. But what do you do with your eyes open? You're not visualizing the whole day, right? So it's important that you are living in that state as if it's already happened, it's already true. And it really means you need to let go of all resistance. Everything that's still like, oh, I'm trying, I really want that, it's not happening, I'm trying to make it happen, when does it come? All these questions need to go away. And imagine this already happened. Imagine your wish would be fulfilled, you would be relaxed. You can breathe and just let go and live. There's nothing to achieve anymore. And so many people that try to manifest their SP, they're always like, yeah, trying to manifest my SP, I'm living in the end, I'm doing this visualization, I'm doing everything, and the person still didn't write me. I still didn't hear from that person. We're still in no contact. If you are asking these questions, if you are thinking about these things, you're still not living in the end. And this is the hardest mind shift for many, many people to do. And just try to understand what it means to really, really let go and really, really, really living in the end. What does it really mean? Who would you be? How would your life be? What would you do every single day? How would you show up? I want you to keep this feeling in mind of just being relaxed and just having a deep breath. It already happened. I can let go. I believe if you're living in the end, truly, you would live, you would be alive, you would be present every single day and appreciate the beauty around you and not live so much in the future or in the past. So let's go on.
Here, I will outline the steps you can take to embody and actualize the principle of living in the end. These steps are not mere exercises. They are profound acts of faith and creation. By following them, you engage in the divine act of bringing the unseen into the seen, the unmanifest into the manifest. Approach these steps with a spirit of seriousness and joy, for they are the keys to unlocking the boundless potential of your own imagination and power of assumption. The first step is to clarify your desire. Precisely define what it is you wish to manifest. Vague desires yield vague outcomes, so it's crucial to be specific. The second step is to craft an imaginal act. Develop a scene that implies the completion of your desire. This scene should be concise and filled with sensory details and emotional substance. Hear the sounds, touch the textures, and feel the emotions associated with fulfillment.
That comes back to dopamine detox. Many people cannot visualize or focus long enough on a scene and actually really, really feel it, see the texture, the smell, all these things, because they're so distracted, right? So that's why the dopamine detox is so powerful. So the first thing is knowing exactly what you want and then create a scene and seeing that very, very clearly.
The third step is to use emotional engagement. As you visualize, it's vital to engage emotionally, as though your desire is currently your reality. The emotional resonance reinforces the reality of the scene in your consciousness. The fourth step is repetition.
By the way, it doesn't need to be so difficult to feel it, because if you think of, if you're really visualizing and you're seeing it very clearly, you smell it, you see the nature or the scenery, whatever you visualize, you will feel something. And oftentimes when I do that, I see myself smile, or I feel myself smile. When I do that, oftentimes I start smiling, and that shows me I'm already feeling it. I'm in the right state. And then the next step is repetition. So
regularly immerse yourself in your imaginal act. Do this especially before sleep, as the subconscious mind is most impressionable at this time. The fifth step is to maintain the feeling. Carry the feeling of the wish fulfilled into your daily life. It's not about denying current reality, but imposing your chosen reality upon it until it becomes your living truth.
You see, it's not about denying your reality. So don't try to reject your reality, right? So sometimes when you hear people say that, if they don't explain it in a right way, it can seem like you should ignore your reality and not pay your bills or not do what you need to do currently, because sometimes we have responsibilities, things we have to do, right? So yeah.
And the sixth step is to persist against doubt. Persistence in maintaining your assumed state is critical, despite the presence of doubt or contradictory evidence from the external world. This is where faith comes into play.
So also, no matter what happens in your life, especially if things don't go your way, especially if you don't get the sales or make the money or nothing is showing up, and you start looking at your reality and you start doubting, that's especially when you need to keep the faith of it's going to happen. It's already done. Basically, it's going to happen means it's not done yet. So you want to move from it's going to happen to the state where you completely believe, not even believe, you know it's done. Knowingness, not belief. That's when you're in the right state. And that's what it means to live in the end. It's a knowingness, you know it's done. And then you can really live. You don't need to obsess, you don't need to think about it. You're alive, you're present, you do whatever you need to do or whatever you want to do, whatever you're currently working on with your full attention, with your full focus, and you're present. You're present with everything that's going on. And when you watch content and you study, you don't just consume content, but you actually watch it with your full presence.
Acting as the bridge over which your imaginal acts make their way into reality. So, you must live from your desired state. An essential aspect of this practice is to think and act from the state of having achieved your goal, rather than working towards something absent.
So how would you show up every single day if whatever you want already happened? How would you show up? If you want to be a big YouTuber, what would you do? Probably create a lot of content, right? And probably you have a certain energy when you create the content. If you want to make lots of money, be wealthy and rich, how would you show up? Every single day, who would you be? And then show up like this.
This shift significantly changes how opportunities and pathways unfold before you. Consider this example of living in the end. Imagine someone who desires a new career. Instead of merely wishing for it, they begin to embody the confidence and satisfaction of having that career now. They align their actions with this state, engage in networking and skill enhancement, as if the role is already theirs, and speak with the assuredness of someone well placed in their field. Now, what's the role of faith?
So it's the same, like if you want to be wealthy and rich and super successful, you imagine a person that shows up a certain way. So you need to start showing up like this person now. And it could almost be called character building. Nobody talks about that. But character building is working on certain traits that a successful person has and showing up like this every single day. But this is the law. If you show up like this every single day, it has to happen. So you need to show up every single day with that confidence.
Faith is not just religious. It is a loyalty to unseen reality. It is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. In practicing the law, your faith, your loyalty to the unseen assumption, will be tested. But remember, it is the faith and persistence that bridge our current state with the realization of our desires. In closing, living in the end is not a passive state. It is active and dynamic, requiring imagination, faith, and persistence. This practice invites us to step into our desired reality, fully and confidently, thereby transforming our lives from the inside out.
By the way, persistence and repetition means you keep on doing these things. You keep seeing your desired reality already happening. But if you do that, and then suddenly after 2-3 days or 5 days, a week, 2 weeks, you start feeling very frustrated and you're like, it's not here. It's not coming. Why is it not coming? What am I doing wrong? You're not persistent. You're going back to your old reality. So you need to be persistent by showing up every single day like that person that already has what you want.
Remember, your imagination is powerful. It is the creative force that molds the fabric of reality. Let us use it with wisdom and joy to create lives we desire.
Wayne Dyer also said something great about faith. He's like, most people say, when I see it, then I believe it. But faith is basically the opposite. When I believe it, I will see it. So that's basically the brutal truths that I learned about the law of assumption. I hope that was helpful. If you want to learn more from me, join my free school community and manifest your dreams just in 5 days, because I have a really cool process in there. If you want to watch more videos, you can check them out here. If you like this video, like, subscribe. With that said, I'll see you in the next video.